To the third and final day of the Leading Global Socioeconomic Forum 2020. So far, we have been talking about crisis, but today we have to talk about the recovery. No more crisis, inshallah. Today we have another 8 wonderful professionals who will share their experiences with you. I just want you to remember the hope we are trying to spread, the message of compassion and empathy we have been trying just to make you aware of. I just want to recall some of the stories we heard on the first day. Whenever you feel that you are in that dark corner of stress, just remember that Kirsten had some problems with her family's issues, and now she is the owner of one of the most successful companies in Dubai. Remember Dr. Hanan, who shared her story with struggling with disease, and now she's one of the most adorable international speakers. Let's remember yesterday, Dr. Yasser, who changed his job 6 times in order to reach at his destination. And now he is one of the most important people and speakers in the UAE. I want you to remember all the advices we received from Nuha Arundhati and so many other people who shared their experiences about the potentials of economic revival, inshallah, and economic recovery. Now, so just remember, even if you are in the darkest corner of the world, there must be a crack from which light will sneak in. Just follow that thread of light and it will reach your heart. Once your heart is enlightened with hope, you will achieve success. Now, I might ask you a question now. Suppose you find yourself in a rural area where people had no schools, no books to read, nothing. What would be your reaction? Would you just close your eyes and say, oh, thanks God, I am not in that position? Would you show sympathy? Or would you do some action to help them? Today, I have with me a great personality. I am very happy to share the screen with Kevin. Kevin, if I say that he is an educator, then deeply believe that he is more than an educator. If I say he is a speaker, he is more than a speaker. If I say he is a humanitarian, what does it mean in a world that humanity is suffering? So I will give you the mic, Kevin, to introduce yourself. Yes, Kevin, are you with me?
I am. Hello, good evening, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have been practicing my Arabic for everybody. I hope you don't mind, but I thought I would give you a greeting in Arabic this evening. Please forgive my tajweed if this goes wrong, but I will try. Inshallah, this is okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Sadaqallahu al-ali. I hope that was okay for everybody.
Yeah, sure. It was wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh.
You know how to speak to people. You are speaking to their culture, to their hearts. I give you the mic. Today, before you start talking about how education can save the world, shall I ask you for 2 or 3 minutes to share your experience with us? I gave them the situation in which you were, in a place where there were no schools, no libraries. So what was your reaction when you were in Nepal?
Look, this is part of my entire talk, to be honest with you. So are we okay if we don't need to separate it, if that's okay?
Yeah, sure.
So look, good evening, everybody. My name is Gavin McCormack. I feel honoured to be invited here. I'm talking to you from Sydney, Australia. It's 11 p.m. at night here, and it's wonderful to be here. So thank you so much, Dr. Hala. I appreciate it, and all of your team. It's been a wonderful build-up coming towards this conference. So I'm a school principal of a primary school in Australia, and I have a couple of campuses, and I run a Montessori school. And I've been a teacher for around about 24 years now. And I've worked all over the world. I'm British born, and I've worked in France and Korea, China, Australia. I've worked in schools, Christian schools, Islamic schools, schools predominantly dominated with Chinese or Indian or Asian nationalities. And I've educated myself around the world through experience, really. And I like to think that bringing experience into your classroom and bringing experience into your curriculum is absolutely crucial. Academics are fantastic, but as we all know, any teachers out there listening, you learn most of how to be a teacher while you're being a teacher. You sit in the auditorium listening to your lecturers telling you how to become a teacher, how to manage a classroom full of kindergarten children. But actually, you really learn how to manage a classroom full of kindergarten children when you're managing a classroom full of kindergarten children. That's when you truly learn. And so, yes, academics are extremely crucial, extremely important, but experience is where education really takes its turn. And I believe that to be a wonderful teacher, you have to have a breadth of experience behind you. You actually have to have some life skills behind you. And in every realm of everything I've ever done, I've always tried to make sure that I include experience in that and bring that into my school or bring that into my classroom. Now, as a very young man, when I was only 2 or 3 years old, my father, he left me and my mother, and we were on our own. And my mother found it very hard to look after me, so she gave me to my grandfather. And my grandfather looked after me for the first 4 or 5 years of my life. And he was a wonderful man. He was an extremely good storyteller. And so for days on end, we would walk around the streets and he would just telling me stories about everything. Most of them, I'm sure, were fictional, but they were good, entertaining stories, all the most. And he told me that you'll get a long way in this life if you can tell a good story. And I've taken that as part of the way that I've always taught. You know, children in your classrooms, and every teacher out there will know this, there's nothing better than a good story to get our children going on a subject, whether it's Egyptian history, or it's about Rome, or it's about geography or mathematics. As soon as we can link it to a good story, the children start to listen. Their ears start to prick up straight away. Now, when I was about 16 or 17, I was at school, and I was living back with my mother, and I was in a very big school, 2,000 or 3,000 children in my school, and I wasn't particularly good education-wise. Academics, I wasn't very good academically. And I went to visit my guidance counselor, and she sat me down at 15 years old and said, look, your grades, they're not great. They're okay, they're not great. She said, you're a really good talker. You're a really, really good communicator. And she gave me a couple of prospects for my future life. She said, look, I've looked through your paperwork. I've done some assessment of what you could be when you're older. And she gave me 2 options. The first option was a driver's mate. She said I could be a driver's mate, which is somebody who sits next to a long-distance lorry driver to keep them company so they don't fall asleep. Now, this was not an option for me. I didn't find this as a very, forthcoming job that I wanted to take on. The second option she offered me was a shepherd. She said that a shepherd would be a great job. Now, neither of those sat very well with me. But she did flag one thing, that I was a good communicator. And my grandfather always told me something. He said, look, if your day is ever boring and you're feeling yourself lost, just take a walk. And on that walk, you talk to every single person you meet until your day becomes interesting. And throughout my entire life, and it's very true, throughout my entire life, I have traveled around the world, lots and lots and lots. and I have met the most interesting people on my journeys. And those stories that I have had through my experience, I've taken them into every single classroom I have taught in the world. And they are the stories that stick with the children I have taught. Not the facts, not the academics, not how to add 2 + 2 or how to solve an equation, but what sticks with our children is the stories. And the stories stick with our children because they're about communication. You see, when you tell a good story, the children then retell your story, and they love to retell that story. And as we all know, it's wonderful to learn, and you can really retain those facts when you retell them or reteach them to somebody else. Now, I guess the reason I'm telling you this is for a very valid point that I want to stand by, is that I've done training courses all around the world. I've worked in schools in India, Bangladesh, Nepal, all over the world, France, Germany, everywhere. And still today, in the 21st century, we have schools where the teacher stands at the front of the room and the children sit in lines and they listen very carefully for 7 hours per day. And sometimes in some classrooms, they're not even allowed to speak. Now, I run a school where if I walk down the corridor and I hear a quiet classroom, it starts me to worry. I start to worry about that classroom. I like my classrooms to be noisy. I like to have talking. I like to have communication. I like to have verbalization. We go to the best offices in the world. You go to Google, Amazon, Wikipedia. You walk in, what do you hear? A cacophony of noise. People talking, people chatting, people debating, people arguing, people working things out, people calculating. And there's a lot to learn from communication. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that we're still in a situation in many, many places around the world where we focus on the academics, but only the academics, where the teacher is the oracle who stands at the front. He or she knows everything, and if you listen carefully, then the knowledge will be imparted into your brain and you will have the knowledge that the teacher has, and then you can use that knowledge to go forward to do something with it. Now, it's time we have a revolution in education, a global revolution. It's time we turn this on its head. Now, it's important, yes, that the teacher does know some things. There's no question about that. But if you sit yourself in that situation where the teacher is the oracle who knows everything, what you are saying to your students is, you're saying, in today's lesson, you can only be as smart as me because I'm the teacher. I'm going to give you some knowledge, and you can only be as smart as me if you listen carefully. Now, I'm telling you right now, I work in a primary school. I have children who are 8 years old, and they know every single breed of crab in the entire world, plus their predator, plus their prey, and their habitat. I can tell you right now, I do not know one breed of crab. So if I was to teach this young boy in my class about crabs tomorrow, I would have to Google it. Then I would have to remember it. Then I would teach him about crabs, and he would know one crab. Now, he knows every breed of crab in the entire world because this is his niche. This is his passion. There's a famous philosopher from England who went to Asia and brought philosophy, the art of Asian philosophy, back to the UK. And he had many books and novels, but he said something very, very profound in his 80 years of living. He said, at some point in your life, you sit down and you think very, very carefully about what it is in your life you could do forever if money was not an option. What would you do? Sit down very carefully, long and hard, and think about what would you do if money was not an object or an option that you had to strive for. And when you think about that long enough, let's say it was painting, you decide, you know what? If I didn't have to earn money, I would just paint all day because painting is something I love doing. Now, when you sit down and think about that and you decide what that is, then you start to incorporate that into your life. And slowly but surely, your passion becomes your profession. And because you become a master at your skill, then the money starts coming. Because as we know, once you're an expert, then everybody wants to have a piece of you. Everyone wants to buy your work. Everybody wants to listen to what you say because you're the master. You're the expert in the field. But if we have our teachers at the front of the classroom telling our students what they know, we never allow them to discover their niche. We never allow them to discover what their passion is. And our job as teachers, from the very early years of 2, 3, 4 years old, is to stand back, stop talking, and know when not to teach. A true teacher, a good teacher knows when to teach, but a great teacher knows when not to teach. And when we step back and we do not teach, we allow our children to then start to explore what it is that gets their motor running, what it is that drives their passion. And when we allow them to find their niche from a very early age, then our job as the teacher is to follow the child. We observe them, we see what they love, and then we focus on that. You see, teaching should really not be about a scheduled timetable where English, mathematics, science, history come one after the other, hour by hour. It should be a situation where we inspire our students, we step back, we observe them, we find their passion, and then, like a silent puppeteer, we then puppeteer the curriculum into their passion. So for example, if their passion was dinosaurs, if we realize that I have a little boy in my class who loves dinosaurs, then that should be what I am going to do. I'm going to focus everything around his passion. I'm going to puppeteer mathematics into dinosaurs. I'm going to puppeteer English into dinosaurs. I'm going to puppeteer science, geography, history into dinosaurs. And therefore, he will drive, he will strive, and he will thrive to go forward. He will run into school every morning because in his mind, he's focusing on his passion. He's focusing on dinosaurs. But you as the silent puppeteer in the background are incorporating maths and English and science and geography and history and STEM on all those wonderful subjects. And this is what it truly means to be a teacher, because if we do that, what we allow our children to do is find their passion and their niche from a very early age. And then that young boy that is in my class who loves dinosaurs, he will be a paleontologist. But he will be a paleontologist a lot sooner if we allow him to find that niche from a very early age. Now, the reason I tell you this, and the reason I'm trying to point this out, is because, as Dr. Haller said, there is something that I have been doing in the background, which is running a charity. Now, I've been a teacher a long time, and I thought that teaching was my passion. I thought that teaching was my niche. I thought I found it when I became a teacher. I loved working with children. I loved teaching. I loved the drive and the passion and the wonderful things that children came out with. I loved everything about being in school. But I soon realized when I started to become the principal of the school that I had 500, 600 families around me that I wanted to try to take on the journey with me. And on a trip to Nepal, I discovered that there were many, many people in the Himalayas who had no access to books, no access to paper, no access to pencils, no access to schools, no access to anything. And I wondered, what could I do about that? So I came back to my school back in Sydney, where people have money and they have houses and they have big bank accounts. And I told them, look, we're going to help these people in the Himalayas and we're going to build them a school. And I spoke to my children in my school and I spoke to the parents. And the next morning, a little boy came into my office and he said, he was only 5. And he said, Gavin, I've brought you some coloring pencils to take to Nepal. And there were 5 or 6 pencils in his hand. And they were from his bedroom. They were his pencils. And I said, thank you. This is so kind of you. Anyway, over the next month, I collected about $25,000 and about 2.5 tons of materials. And I took them to the Himalayas and we built a school and we opened it. And the children came in. And in a very bizarre turn, the first thing that the first boy picked up when he walked into the classroom was those coloring pencils. And with those pencils, he drew his first ever picture. He'd never drawn a picture before in his life. And I took that picture and I brought it back to school and I showed it to the little boy who'd given me the pencils. And I said, remember those pencils you gave me? And he said, yes, Gavin. And I said, you gave me those pencils. I took them to Nepal and a little boy 15,000 kilometers away drew his first ever picture thanks to your kindness. And he said, Gavin, I'm going to bring you more pencils. And since then, we've built 9 schools, 2 teacher training centers, about 4 libraries. And we've worked across the whole of the Himalayas. And I realized what my passion was at that point. It wasn't teaching. Teaching is a passion, but my real passion was intention. It was about teaching with intention. Not just teaching, but telling the children, yes, you can learn academics, and yes, you can learn facts, and yes, you can find your niche, but also you can make a huge difference. a huge difference with the smallest of actions. And I realized over this time that as teachers, yes, our job is to pass the academics to our children, but actually our real job is to produce children who will be future leaders, who will make decisions with the right moral compass, with the right ethics. They will realize the power they have as an individual that can change lives. You see, the problem is we often find ourselves feeling helpless. We look at the war in Syria, we look at the problems we see in Bangladesh, we see the problems in Libya, and we feel helpless, but actually we are not helpless. We are quite empowered, and we just need to make the small changes, the small differences, and they make a huge difference in the end. And this is the reason why the school that I run at the moment, we have a strong focus on academics, but we have a curriculum that is based around essential skills, around empathy, love, compassion, understanding, resilience, time management, cooperation, collaboration. We have a strong focus on this because these are the skills that are going to allow our children to change the world. There was a time when I was in India working in Bangladesh, working in Bangalore, and I saw a young man sitting outside school one day, and he was reciting a piece of paper. And I said, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm preparing for my next exam." And I said, "How are you preparing?" And he said, "Well, I know the question. I'm just reading the answer. I've already prepared the answer. And in the exam, I'm going to remember the entire answer and copy it from my brain onto a piece of paper." And I said, "Oh my God, this is not what education should be about. Education is not about memorization. It's not about recitation. It's actually about using those skills, adapting them to enable you to empower yourself and therefore change the world and make it into a better place." You see, it's the people who get the best jobs in the world are not people who have the best resume. They're not the people who have the best scores or the best academics. They're the people who are willing to admit their failures and say, "I'm going to work on them." They are the people who are willing to communicate what's going on in their mind, and they are people who are willing to grow. And I think this is what we need to turn when we look at education and look at the revolution of education. We need to stop focusing on a fact-based curriculum and turn it into a skill-based curriculum. I think if we can find the balance between skills and facts, we will have a curriculum across the world that will empower our students to be good, morally correct, and ethically sound leaders of the future. And all the problems we see at the moment in terms of famine and war and starvation, we will see these things start to dissipate. And I know there are many Muslims in this conference today. And inshallah, all of your Muslim students will grow into be wonderful leaders. And I hope that is the case. I've worked in a Muslim school for 10 years. So I know there is a strong emphasis in the Quran about zakat and almsgiving and giving back to the community. This is extremely important. And I want to finish with one very final story. And I'm sorry for talking so long, but I will finish with this. 3 months ago, I was at school, and my school is at capacity. I don't have any space at my school. And a mother came to my office and she knocked on the door and said, "Gavin, I would really like my son to be in your school." And I said, "I'm so sorry, I don't have any space, but you can join the waiting list." And she said, "My son has autism and he goes to another school." And the teacher told him, "I don't know how to teach you. Put your head on the table, look at the table, and hopefully something will go in your ears." Now, when I heard that, my heart was broken. I felt extremely sad to hear that statement. I said to the mother, "Look, bring him tomorrow morning. We'll make a space for him." So the next morning, she turned up on the playground and I went out to greet him. He was a 9-year-old boy. And mum and dad were there with him. And I took his hand and he was shaking like a leaf. His hand was all sweaty. And he was extremely anxious about coming into school. And I told him, "Look, come into the classroom. I'll show you where you put your bag." And he wouldn't move. He just would not move. He was like a statue. He was glued to the ground. Suddenly, from round the classroom door, peered a little boy, 7 years old. He said, "Gavin, is this Oscar?" I said, "Yes." He ran over. He pushed me out of the way, grabbed his hand and said to little Oscar, "Come on, I'm your friend. Let me show you where you put your bag." And off they went into the classroom. Now, I followed them into the classroom and I looked around the door. And as they walked through the classroom, another little boy jumped out of his seat. He ran over and said, "Hey, Oscar, if Oliver is busy, then I'll be your friend." And I realized at that very moment that these two boys were going to be amazing students. They were going to be the leaders of this world. When they graduate from my school, when they go to high school, they will be the boys that will sit with the lonely child on the playground. They will be the workers in the office who will call out inequality and racism and sexism and gender inequality. And they'll be leaders from tomorrow who will actually lead this world in a morally and ethically sound way and hopefully change the world for the better. And I want to finish with this. That is how education can save the world. It's not about academics. It's not about facts. It's about producing students who will go out there and do the right thing for the right reasons, not driven by money, but driven by passion. Thank you so much for having me. I hope that my speech has helped you, and I hope I haven't talked too long.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You summarized, in fact, the core theme of this conference. It's not about, when speaker comes and just deliver information. We can now find information on Google, but here we are about speaking from the heart and exchanging those glorious experiences that make us at the core human. And at those difficult times of COVID and post-COVID, we need to remember how to be human again. Thank you so much, Kevin. I think you have time if you'd like to just answer a few questions, because this is a chance that I don't know when we'll next have you again. So would you like to answer some of the questions with your audience?
Of course, it's my pleasure.
Yeah. Are there any questions?
How do you normally do the questions? Do you do them in the chat group?
Yeah, in the chat, Yes? Is there a question? Okay, there is a question, Kevin. It says, yes. About what was the most memorable moment in your life?
In my life?
I think there was more than one memorable moment, as you have just told us. Yeah.
Well, look, I will tell you the time I cried the most was in the Himalayas. I was building a school on the not far from Mount Everest, and we were 5 days into the build, and I invited all the children from the village to come up to the top of the mountain and to draw some pictures, and I was going to frame those pictures and put them into the school, so the children had some kind of ownership. Although I built the school, their pictures were hanging on the wall, so they kind of had a part to play. And these children had never seen a piece of paper, actually. So it wasn't that they hadn't, I mean, it sounds crazy to think that, but they hadn't seen a piece of paper. They hadn't held a pencil. They hadn't held a coloring pencil. When I was showing them how to draw pictures, and then I was going to let them, modeling is a huge part of teaching. I was going to show them. So I was showing them how to draw pictures, and the children were looking like, oh my God, like, what is he doing? Like, what is this? This is the future. And I was just drawing a tree, on a piece of paper. It wasn't even a very good tree. Anyway, the children then went away to draw their pictures, and a little girl came over to me, and she'd drawn a picture, and it was me and her on a piece of paper. Her first ever picture was me and her, and she handed it to me, and she said, "This is for you. One paper more, please." And then I just started crying because all she needed in this world was one piece of paper more. And then she drew for 7 hours, 8 hours nonstop. And I thought about that for a very long time. We often get caught in this world of materialism, and you know, I need the Gucci handbag, and I need a Mercedes Benz, and I need a Maserati. Actually, you don't need those things, and actually those things will not make you happy. And our children don't need those things. What our children need is, they need a hand to hold, they need a place to hide, they need an ear to listen to them, they need you know, someone to say I love you. They need those things. That's what truly will make them happy. Material possessions, you know, will be broken, will be lost, will be put in the cupboard, but the old saying is, it's not what you give me that will make me happy, it's how you make me feel that will make me happy. And I think, you know, building schools in the Himalayas, people say, oh, Gavin, you're so kind, you're so wonderful, you're so fantastic. Well, no, it's not true. Actually, I do it for me, because I'm addicted to the feeling, the feeling of seeing the children so happy. And I guess this is why in our DNA, in our cells, in our structure, in our, you know, our being, it feels good to give. You know, we feel good when we make people happy. We feel good when we make children smile, you know, and that's why we're all teachers, because we like to see our children flourish and fly and grow. And, you know, this is the moment I won't forget. This moment when she said, 1 paper more. I realized that there's nothing more to life than 1 paper more.
Well, that's wonderful. So I think, you know, those are very precious moments. I don't want to stop you, in fact, and there are so many questions. So would you like to have a look at the chat box and choose another question and answer?
I will let you choose. You are the doctor. I'm just a teacher.
Okay. But you know, I think a teacher has a very, very important role in life.
I'm only joking with you.
Yeah. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah? Yeah, so are you still there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still here, yes.
Yeah, so, okay. So most of the comments are so positive. I just want to thank you dearly, Gavin. Those were very precious moments. Inshallah, we will, after the recording is finalized, we will share them with other audience, and more people will listen to you and share your message of peace, being a human, and you know, just realizing the core of life, that and the essence we are all looking for.
Can I say one thing before? Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah, you are blessed that you have found, in fact, the passion of your life. I hope all our audience will find their own ways. Thank you so much.
I'm sure they will. Can I say one more thing before I go, please?
Yes.
I think, you know, before I leave, there's many teachers in this conference and leaders, educational leaders and local leaders and people who have influence. And I think that the one thing we need to do as teachers or administrators or heads of department or principals is that we need to not put too much pressure on the teacher to feel that they have to be teaching for 7 hours per day. It's not true. Actually, our job as teachers is to inspire, actually not teach. Our job is to get the amazing facts, get the amazing part of what we want to teach, get our children excited, and then ask them, now, what would you like to know? And let them really find their own way. And when we do that as teachers, we can then sit back and observe. And I think as teachers, you know, we don't have time. A lot of pressure is put on our teachers to teach. You're not teaching, you're not standing up, you're not talking. Why aren't you talking? Why are you sitting down? And this is not true. Actually, we should be sitting down. We should be observing. We should be working with one child where 29 children are working independently. Because when we say yes, when we step back, when we observe, we really understand our students, and we also allow them to fail. And through failure, we see a great deal of growth. So I think as leaders and administrators and people who have influence, that is the one thing we need to take on, is that teaching is not about teaching 7 hours a day. Teaching is about inspiring and observing, and then taking note of how your learners learn and adapting your prepared environment to suit their needs and allowing them to fail. So look, thank you so much again, Dr. Haller. It's been a real pleasure to be here. I am feel privileged and honored. You know, if we didn't have COVID-19, I would fly to you and do this in person. And I hope that when the COVID-19 is gone, inshallah, it won't be too long now, then we can do this live in person in Dubai.
Sure, sure. And one final note, they asked me what was the surprise that you were preparing, and I suppose they missed it. Kevin surprised me. He sent me a voice note. He can recite Quran with tajweed, and he was perfect in doing so. And he just started his presentation by saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen and saying Assalamu alaikum.
You want me to do it again?
I don't know. Go ahead if you like.
I could try. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صدق الله العظيم. شكرا.
Thank you so much. Very glad to have you. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
My pleasure. Thank you.
For sure, inshallah, we will meet you again.
Inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you on behalf of all the audience and all those who are present with us and those who will watch you later on. Accept my appreciation.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now let's welcome our next speaker, Dr. Midhat Shaban. Dr. Midhat will talk about how to unleash your potentials. Dr. Midhat, are you there?
Hello.
Dr. Midhat, yes, welcome.
Hi, how are you, Dr. Hala?
Hi, how are you? How is everything?
Great. Thank you,
Okay,
Gavin.
great to have you.
Me too. Thank you, Gavin, for this inspiration speak. And I'm very delighted and very happy that through the last 2 days, the talk was continuously for what we are trying to reach as innovation, especially in business. Innovation, to reach innovation in business, you need the people, and these people, they need to reach an education where innovation was built in from the first 5 years in their age. So during the last 2 days, you were speaking wonderfully about the what we call it KSA in the training and in the coaching. So I'm happy to hear that from all of you, and I will excuse Mu'taz if we can share my screen also. Is it clear, please? Can you just write one in the chatting? Dr. Hala, is it clear now?
Sorry, I gave you the mic. Yes, everything is clear. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hala, and thank for the International Academy of Management for giving me the chance to speak about innovation in business. I will not talk about myself too much, but however, I'm from the healthcare background and in the field of training and consultancy, specialized in the business management, business analysis, and innovation and creativity. The first question can be, can we unleash our potential in 20 minutes speech or 3 days training course or 6-month coaching? So if you, Mu'taz, if you please open the mic, I would like to have interactive with the people and the participants. What do you think? We can unleash our potential in 20 minutes or 3 days or 6 months, or it can be trigger and we can unleash the potential in 1 second. What do you think? Okay, let us make this exercise. What do you see in this picture, please? If you can also write in the chatting. Do you see a beautiful young girl or do you see old lady? Old lady and young, both, only young girl, young lady, both. Okay. So those who did not see until now the old lady, what do you think? Is there is old lady or no? If anyone would like to speak with the mic, you are most welcome. Can't see the old lady, only young girl, hard to see on the small screen. Okay, you can make it large. Actually, this is what's happening when we think about creativity and innovation. Sometimes we will say that we are seeing the young lady or the young girl, and people will say we can't see the old lady while both are there. So if we just, and this is the trigger. If you see now with me in the next picture, here I am highlighting the old lady. You can see here the eye, here is the nose, and this is the upper lip, and this is the chin, the hair coming beside. Please let me know if those who did not see the old lady, you can see her now clearly. Anyone saw the, anyone from participants was not able to see the old lady, can recognize the old lady now? Please let me know. So this proves that there was both the old lady and the young girl, but because our brain and our subconscious always like to see the beautiful thing first, so you will see the young lady first, but this old lady, she will not be clearly appear in the beginning. And after we saw both, now maybe you can see only the old lady after it is became very clear in your screen. So again, to be able to have the innovation skills and to unleash the potential of innovation in business and in personal, we will need to increase the importance of the sightseeing and the way of thinking and the mental map, the mind mapping. This is a lot of pictures which will show how important is the sightseeing. For example, here, this is the angle of the camera. When he took the picture, you can see here like small infant or baby. This is his eye, the nose, this is his legs. From this angle, maybe you can see frog. But if we wait a little bit and we move the angle, then you can see a horse. So again, the difference in the angle may change the reality or the appearance. This is how we use the visual effects to innovate. This is a design where from this face you can see Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid. From the back will appear Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid in the same model.
العكس صحيح. بدي من هنا كيف اللوحة وآخر شيء يطلع لك الصف الثاني وزع.
So the innovation is a sustainable wealth and the basis for the development of nations, peoples, and the advancement of countries into the future. UAE has adapted innovation as a culture of work and a way of life. This quote by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, which is very important because to be able to reach and to unleash the potential of innovation, we need the support of the leaders, we need the support of the board of directors, we need the support of our managers, we need the support of our community, our external environment. So what do we need to unleash the potential of innovation in business? Usually, people, the employees, are innovating, not the company or the organization itself. So the innovation will come by people. So we have to understand that there is three main categories for unleash the potential of innovation in business. First of all is the employee as a person, as a human being, then the company or organization itself, then the external environment, which is the country or the government or the laws or anything external environment. Okay, how we can, who is the most important category in the three? I think it will be, of course, the people. If we are going to accept that Einstein, when he mentioned before that if you are going to do whatever you are doing, you will get the same reaction every time. So we need to change our mindset, we need to change our mental map, and to be able to do, there is many criteria we have to go through so that we can increase our mindset and mental map and NLP to be changed to reach the innovation. Updating, we have something called KSA, and I added on it in 2013, LC, when I was in the conference for the Arab Union of Trainers in Jordan. And the KSA, for everyone who is in the field of training, he knows that it is the, not Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but it is the knowledge, and the S referred to the skills, and the A to attitude. Dr. Layla Blushi in the second day, she was speaking very nicely about the KSA. She mentioned it clearly, and especially in education. Gavin, now he take through on it, and this is really what we all need to go for. We need to change the education and the learning from only the knowledge to have promotion of the skills and to change the attitude. So to do that, there is many other steps. What about the LC? We have to now in the market and the business, and if you find it is very, very difficult and very competing for all the jobs, to be able to reach or to have the job, you need to have certain criteria and certain competences, not rather than the certificates. So if you don't have leadership, especially in United Arab Emirates, as we have a smart government for more than 12 years now, if you don't have the leadership skills and the creativity, I think it will be very difficult to be able to get the job. So to develop, we have two kinds of personal skills and management skills. This is just brief about what you have to increase, like the mental map, to be not stereotype, how to think out of the box, the paradigm shift, the win-win, creativity, the time management, to have the effective communication skills, the body language, effective negotiation skills, the decision makers. We need to read the 7 habits for Stephen Covey, and then he added the 8 habits, the team building, motivation, all this considered under the personal skills. What we need under the management skills, like the planning, how to set objectives, how to do the VVMO, how to make situation analysis, how to have a corporate identity, corporate profile, the marketing, the benchmarking, customer satisfaction and customer stories, the HR, the quality, the excellence, the finance, the PMP, risk management, and a lot of things. All are very important now. But when we speak about the difference between both, what do you think? Which will be more important? Is it the management skills or the personal skills? Employees are promoted for management skills or for their personal skills? What do you think? For example, if you have a manager and this manager, he is getting the knowledge and he get a PhD from abroad, very, very famous, very high university, but his office is always closed. He will not contribute in any ceremony for the employees, or he will not go for any condolences. And if you ask for vacation, it will be always rejected. But really, he is very, very talented in the management skills and in the education. The other manager, to give you another option for another manager who is graduated from a local university, he did not get master, did not get PhD, but his office is always open. He communicates with everyone. He will be in every occasion, and he will be talkative. He will be negotiating. Which one of the both you think you would like to work with? I believe 90% or 95 will say we will go for the second one. So, and this is showing how much importance of the personal skills. And because of the importance of personal skills, the government began to support and to make budget for the training for the government employee to increase their personal skills. To reach the KSA level, we need also to understand that there is the habit and there is a behavior. And again, in the changing the habit, we need to have the knowledge and the skills and the desire. In the behavior, we need to understand that there is value, there is belief, there is attitude. And this tree of behavior, usually the top leaders and the HR department are using it to change the mindset for the employee and to make him across with the vision of the company and to be able to join the team and to give more and more. What about this advertisement? What can you read and what you can understand they are meaning? This was done by Karim. It is like the taxi or the car lifting application on mobiles. So they are writing that we are better than, and there is R in the end, and the other picture here, it will be ER, which will give you indication that they are saying they are better than Uber, but actually they are saying that we are better than ever. So this is one of the creative way and the innovation which we can use in the marketing and in the corporates. So it is not a joke and it is not a philosophy that when we are speaking about innovation and about creativity, it can achieve a lot in our business. Again, to understand your mental map and to be able to increase our mental map, we need to differentiate between the mind mapping and the mental map. As a tool, we need to understand there is something called paradigm shift, and also Dr. Tara, she spoke about it in the Thursday. We need to understand about the win-win situation, which is in one of the 7 habits of Stephen Covey, and it is very important in the negotiation skills. How to think out of the box, how to create without a box at all. And we are going to talk about it also during the session now. But to understand, we need to differentiate between mental map and mind mapping. So the mental map, it is like psychology and analysis for the human being himself, and it will be affected by the education, the place of birth, the environment, the financial situation, the educational situation, if his both parents were alive or they were died when he was small. All these criteria will affect something called mental map. Because of this mental map, the person is taking decision and he can react according to this mental map. If we can analyze and he can analyze his mental map clearly, he can then change and re-innovate what is area for improvements to be changed for a positive and better way. So the mind mapping, it is a summarized tool done by Tony Buzan, and really it is also very important in innovation. We're using it in the innovation lab and the government innovation lab and the business innovation to understand many things, to summarize a lot of criteria, a lot of books, a lot of projects. So easily we can introduce that the mind mapping by using the colors, by using the papers, by using the tree appearance. All these will be we can do it for mind mapping. Only one page, it will summarize for you a whole book like 300 pages. It can summarize for you the Quran, for example. It can summarize for you the human resource management department. It can summarize for you the innovation, creativity, a training course. And because of the importance of the mind mapping, there's applications now which can make it for you by a proper way and more easier, and can be done by this way. Like this man, he did the mind mapping for how to take a good photo by using the camera. Also, the picture, it is worth 1,000 words. So this is a complete mind mapping by pictures for the negotiation skills training. For example, here you need in the negotiation to have a patience in skills. So he put the moving chair. Maybe you need psychology analysis so that you can analyze the talk when the person is talking, etc. Again, mind mapping, it is not a philosophy, and people begin to use it even in advertisement. So this, if we can see that Toyota, they use it as advertisement in newspaper by Arabic, and they call it My Week on My Way, and they did the mind mapping and they put it in the newspaper. So you can even make a mind mapping for our conference for all speakers, and then you can get, and the nice thing that if we collect like more than 10 or 15 mind mapping, we will find like more 15 notes, and everyone, he will have from his own vision, from his own perspective, from his own angle, something new. So that's why to do the mind mapping and to have a brainstorming and to have a session with our employees, it will give us more and more ideas, because everyone can understand it by a different way. So the paradigm shift, one of the super enemies to innovation and creativity is the stereotype and jumping to conclusion. And unfortunately, we face this a lot in our culture and in some countries. And it is now available everywhere. You will find people have already stereotype. For example, in US, the DC people will have stereotype about Texas people. In UAE, maybe from Dubai, they will have some stereotype about Western region people. In Egypt, from Cairo, about the Upper Egypt. And maybe sometimes in the same family, or about the family names, you will find stereotypes. So all these are negative and area for improvement. We need to change it in our mindset to be able to innovate. So please try to not have the stereotype and don't jump to conclusion. The light bulb was never the result of the continuous development of the candle industry. What's that mean? We need always to think out of the box. And usually, we hear this word now for more than 10 years in the conferences and meetings and seminars. And Alhamdulillah, I succeeded in registering my training course called How to Think Out of the Box in the NQA, the National Qualification Authority in UAE, from level 5 credit 1 hour. And the idea came from when everyone's saying we need to think out of the box. The question here, if your young brother or your son or your sister or anyone asks you, how can I think out of the box? What we will say? What will be the answer? Most of the time, we will say that out of the box, you need to think unusual. You want to give new idea. You want to be unique in your way of thinking. But by this way, did we really teach him how to think out of the box, or we give him the benefit? Unfortunately, no. To be able to understand how to think out of the box, it is a continuous exercise for more than 1.5 hours. And by doing this exercise and by doing the scamper technique, you can really be able now to start to think out of the box. Even to change that, you can start without any box. So really, we need to develop our people to think out of the box and to understand how they can think out of the box. This is for the candle again, that when they think out of the box, how can we reuse the candle again? So they made this innovation. When it's melted, it will come back again. One of the important things for innovation in business is the paradigm shift. And again, paradigm shift, it is not easy to translate it by Arabic or to give it to people, but we say that it is an impulsive, fast change in the way of thinking, accompanied by speed, swift change in the reaction, changing the vision and the perception. We can give example about it, that how I am going to change my quick change in the thinking, accompanied by quick change in the reaction. You can see this video.
Again, this is the USS Montana requesting that you immediately divert your course 15 degrees to the north to avoid a collision. Over.
Please divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid collision. This is
Sorry.
Again, this is the USS Montana requesting that you immediately divert your course 15 degrees to the north to avoid a collision. Over.
Please divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid collision. This is Captain Hancock. You will divert your course. Over. Negative, Captain. I'm not moving anything. Change your course. Over. So, this is the USS Montana, the second largest vessel in the North Atlantic Fleet. You will change course 15 degrees north, or I will be forced to take measures to ensure the safety of this ship. Over. This is a lighthouse, mate. It's your call. Hello, Captain.
So what happened here, that the ego and the man in the ship, the general, we are the biggest second ship in the world and in the US, and you need to change your course. They did not have the time even to think to ask, who are you? If they are a light in the see how they will move. So by this way now, what he will do, what he need to do when he know that it is a lighter, he need to shift his ship very quickly. Otherwise, if he's make the accident and enter in them, it will be a big scandal for the whole ship and for his leadership. So by this way, we can learn that before you act, you need to think a little bit, you need to give space, you need to ask, and maybe the next story will give us more about the paradigm shift, which called the children in the train, a man in the train, and in the next station, another father, he entered the train with 3 kids, 3 children. The children begin to play and to scream and to make high voices, and they are playing. And in the end, they came and they grab his trousers. The man for 10 minutes, he's burning his blood and he's saying, what this man, what this father, why he is not raising his kids, why they are not polite, why he don't tell them to sit in the chairs, why he is leaving them like this to annoy and to make noise for everyone. So suddenly he couldn't make any, to control his stress. Then he said to man, hey you, why don't you tell your kids to sit down and to be polite? The father looked to him and he told him, you are totally right, but the problem that we just now went out from hospital and their mother died and I don't know what to do. So what we will do now? What will be the reaction of this man now? What do you think? So this is typically the paradigm shift. This man, in 1 second, he began to play now with the kids. He began to make more noise than the kids were doing in the train. And he began to feel sympathy and empathize with these people. So again, the lesson from here that he lost, who was the loser? The loser was this man that he did not give himself chance to ask. He lost 10 minutes to 15 minutes of his life, burning his blood, jumping to conclusion, thinking about that father, he is not raising his kids well. He began to hate the kids themselves. If you just ask from first time about this question mark, why these children are not staying calm, he will get the answer and it will be good. So again, paradigm shift is one of the, of course, we have a lot of exercises and a lot. I'm trying now to speak about every task quickly, but there is training courses for each what we are speaking about now, and it will take many exercises. Paradigm shift, again, one of the best paradigm shift, it was for the, our famous player, Muhammad Salah, when he was in the Egyptian team, and it was the football league for the World Cup. And during that time, they lost one goal, and they was going to lose to have to reach the World Cup. But by taking the shock, by motivate himself, by begin to motivate other players, by feeling responsibility, by paradigm shift, they could come back to the match just in 5 minutes, and they won. And alhamdulillah, they reached the World Cup. So paradigm shift is one of them. I can't really pass. Last week, there was a very, very nice trend video, and it was viral on the social media for this young Egyptian doctor who have a very nice paradigm shift too. He is selling this kind of, we call it fresca in Egypt. This is like biscuit on the beach for people who are swimming, especially in the summertime. And the man met with him, he asked him, who are you and what is your story? So this boy, he's now telling him that my name is Ibrahim.
ان شاء الله السنه الجايه
And
اعدادي تبقى
I succeeded
ثانويه عامه السنه دي
in the high school. I got 99.6 percentage,
ده 25 يناير في
and
اسكندريه
I am accepted in the Faculty of Medicine, Alexandria University.
شغال في ريسك
So he's telling him, okay, but why what you are doing now?
عندي
Why you are
اخ
working?
اخويا خالد وشغال برضه
He
معانا
said,
وعندي
I'm
مهندسين اخوك
helping my father, I'm helping my father every time in summer, and I'm not feeling shy from being the seller man for this biscuit. And even my father, he is a seller for the biscuit, and another, my youngest brother.
طبعا هو حلم يعني ما هو ده حلم بالنسبه لي ما هو معنى ان
He
انا
asked him, are you happy? He said, I was more happy to make my father happy.
عاوز تخصص معين ولا اي حاجه؟
ان شاء الله جراحه عامه
جراحه عامه. طب حدد هدفك يا ابراهيم.
هنلعب يعني
تليفونك كام يا
He
ابراهيم؟
asked him what he would like to specialize after. He said, I would like to be a general surgery.
عشان لما توصل يا ابراهيم بكلمك في التليفون اقول ان الجدع ده كان صح. انت جدع يا ابراهيم.
One of the manifestation of creative qualities in individuals, ability to present ideas, the reading metaphysics, the visibility and solidity of the purpose, commit to a goal, exchange of opinion, the ability to understand solution problems, the love of knowledge, the automation, flexibility, independence. And again, the first question can be, what is the difference between the innovation and creativity? And if there is any difference. Actually, I asked this question to Sir James Harrington. I was attending training course with him. And this man, he in the end of 80s, and he's coming on this wheelchair, and he's giving us the training course by himself for innovation in business. And I was very touched by this man that in his age, he is not stopping, he can give, he's still giving training. And his answer for me was like this: the creativity, it is seeing what no one people has seen before, think about what other people have not thought of before, doing what others have not done before, or creativity is defined as the process of bringing about something new, al-ityan bigadib. And this is the creative learning spiral. But innovation, it is how to transform the creative idea into a product or service that benefits those involved and the community. So when we do any creative or any creative ideas or creative talent, creative picture, creative, if we will not have the benefit and we can change it to a product or a service to the community, and by profit or without profit. So by this way, it will be called innovation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Medhat. We really have enjoyed your presentation. MashaAllah, you are so rich with ideas. But as you know, we are limited by the time. Inshallah, we will invite you to another session, inshallah, in our next conference. That was great.
I
That
just
was great.
to give this slide only. that to continue in business, we will need to change from the SWOT analysis to SWOT analysis, from smart objectives to smarter. We need to have the quality, the 10X of Dubai model, the innovation catalyst, the Cobra effect, use of excellence model, the AFQM, the changing from red ocean to blue ocean, the happiness module, the 7-star module for customers, future foreseeing, the virtual reality, the Gartner cycle, sustainability, blockchain, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, smart robots, smart data discovery, big data, the IoT, the IOM, the smart dust, G5, and the ACDB. So I hope that all participants, they can Google it and try to find it to be able to reach. This is just a review.
Thank you so much. I'm very sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Shaban Medhat, but we are unable to continue. We have to start with our third speaker. Okay, we are running short of time.
But, by the way, you give Gavin till 45, okay? So yeah. I thought that you have to give me more time to be able also to continue my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, indeed, the first and the second speaker just triggered, you know, those human aspects and innovative aspects of our endeavor just to build a resilient recovery from COVID. Now, the third speaker, let's welcome, yes. Sushmita, are you there? Are you there?
Yeah, hi, I'm there. I'm very much there, Dr. Hala.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Hala. A very good evening to you and everyone present today. We are on the third day of the forum and would like to congratulate all speakers who shared their stories and insights in the first 2 days. Amazing content.
Yeah.
A bit about myself. My journey into the corporate world started with information technology around 18 years back, followed by Nokia Mobile. Was the first woman region way back in 2002, seems like a long way back. Moving to retail education, being part of a co-founding member of the first retail management school in India. Subsequently, I moved into UAE, a beautiful country of opportunities, as our home for the past 13 years. I've been in leadership roles within luxury, fashion, home, electronics, luxury watches and jewelry, retail businesses here in UAE and GCC countries as well. Giving back to the society has been a part of my life for many years. I have done so in my own capacity, and I'm a proud mother of 2 children and their father who are equally passionate humanitarians. Today, I will be sharing insights on the current digital workplace trends, the drivers and the strategy framework which are being adapted by organizations to build resilience and business continuity beyond to 2020. I hope my video is clear. Let me share my presentation.
Yes, go ahead. It's clear.
Okay. Is my screen coming on? Coming up? I'm trying to share my presentation. Is my presentation visible now?
Not yet.
Hello?
Not yet.
Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, the current digital workplace trends. Currently, the COVID-19 has had an enormous impact and changed the definition of workplace completely for organizations, business leaders, consumers, employees. The 24/7 connectivity, instant access environment has been blurring the lines between the physical office and the business that we actually work in. The lines between the professional and personal life seems to be merging, and employees are communicating and collaborating in unprecedented ways across the organizations and business relationships. The workplace is moving completely towards becoming truly digital. What is the workplace now? What does it look like? Is it in premises at office? Or is it our home space? Or is it within the palms of our hands in the devices that we are holding? The definition is evolving rapidly. During COVID lockdown, employees are moving off their couches, their dining tables and chairs and beds into more ergonomic homework setups within their homes. Our families have learned and adapted to us working from homes, and we too have learned to work among the distractions within our homes during this COVID-19 lockdown period. A recent survey outcome of employees locally here in Dubai of a very highly regarded local company was very, very surprising. After 3 months of lockdown, 90% of their employees voted for working from home, which was very surprising. They were not keen to come back to the offices, and the reasons are, well, we all know the reasons. So the company started to adopt different ways. They had a 3-floor office in which now they reimagined 2 of their floors utilizing for other business purposes, while using only 1 floor for employees who have to come in, managing with skeletal staff, and that's about it. So this is how new organizations are adopting the different ways of working employees from home and in-premise offices. So it's become critical for business leaders to identify, source, and deploy solutions which are in support to changing this business and employee needs to maintain a continuity. Business continuity, flexible working, and adaptive infrastructure. These are the 3 key pillars now going forward. So how does the digital workplace look like? So what is the digital workplace? So the digital workplace is nothing but an evolution of our natural and traditional workplaces that we have worked in the past. But however, it is now comprised of technology-driven working environment, which is rapidly accelerating due to the COVID-19. The flexi space concept is expected to become the new normal, which means downsizing the space with fewer or flexible workstations, which can be shared by those who come in occasionally to office, which is being considered by most of the organizations. Looking at the pros and cons of this new digital workplace trends, let's look at the positives. There is increased productivity, virtual collaboration, effective communication, engaged employees, lower costs, including office rentals, less travel and events, reduced carbon footprints with employees commuting less and using less energy, diverse talent pool with no restriction of locational hiring, and a 9-to-5 working style is a thing of the past with more flexibility now. However, there are some sides to it. Trust between employees and employers need consistent reinforcing because employees are working out of sight now. Onus is moving more to the employees for work output more than ever before. Employees feel isolated a bit and unenthusiastic when they are tasked with face-to-face duties like conducting interviews and giving presentations and leading meetings online or virtual. Then cybersecurity also is a major challenge. Employees working from home means relying more on mobile devices for the day-to-day productivity. and accessing data outside the productive perimeter of the corporates. So we need to have a good balance between the positives and the negatives when we think about the digital workplace. There are three key drivers in the digital workplace today. COVID-19 has forced an acceleration of digital transformation for organizations worldwide, with new tools and processes rapidly deploying to meet an immediate need. So the strategy has to be changing and has to evolve in terms of business continuity planning, new processes, new policies, new work models, HR policies to be more adaptable, office setups and costs will vary, employee engagement modes will change, innovation around operations has become very, very critical. In terms of strategies around the employees and within companies, the multidimensional disciplinary workforce, upscale of people knowledge, giving them work autonomy, having various productivity measures, flexible workspace, schedules, work-life balance is now center stage for employee strategies. Technology, of course, is the key enabler of the digital workplace to have a competitive edge in the market, providing social tools, looking more towards the cloud, the mobile technologies, the broadband connections, search capabilities, and deep data analytics. So these are the three key drivers of the digital workplace today. How do the companies that are and organizations that are today working out their framework and strategies for this digital workplace? This comprises of around three key layers. The users, today, as we know, that the users, the digital workplace is all about the employees being able to work work out their jobs and collaborating and communicating within the remote offices as well as with in-premise offices. They have to forge productive businesses, relationships with beyond natural work groups. They have to share knowledge across the organizations, and which requires tools that allow them to connect across the organization, leverage intellectual property, and gain insight from one another. So the digital workplace delivers on all these goals by fostering a stronger sense of culture and community within the workplace. When we talk about the technology part, it is the workplace enabler. So depending on the industry and the business needs, the tools which are required to support the respective digital workplace varies. The key is to adopt the right tools for the employees to do their jobs. We look at the control part of it, which has become also very important for all organizations. The effective use of technology need to be underpinned now by appropriate controls with appropriate governance structures and management processes. Information flow and user must comply with the organization policies and industry regulations. Coming to the business drivers, as with any core initiative, it is essential to not lose focus on it. The key areas that the businesses, while working for a strategy and framework on the digital workplace, should be continue to look at increasing revenue by providing applications that help employees identify cross-sell and upsell opportunities, reduce operational costs, to introduce more effective ways to virtually meet, cutting travel, telecommunications costs, accelerate a time to market supply tools which help in research, develop, test, and deliver new products and services far more quickly than before. Enhance innovation, which is fostering a two-way communication to drive discussions and build communities of interest and practice to drive the innovation agenda. So when we are talking about the strategies, there's the four layers. is basic, again, coming back to it, is the user, which is the employees who need to collaborate, communicate, and connect. It's the technology, which is driving, which is the key enabler, and it's the control, which is the governance and risk and compliance around the technologies that are being implemented across businesses, and the business drivers. So these comprises of the framework and strategy that all businesses are today looking at with a far more accelerated speed than ever before. Leveraging the existing investment that companies already have to support a new and better way of doing business. When we talk about the employees, which is the second strategy working around the employees in the digital workflows, employee experience has become even more important now, as equal to as customer experience that we used to focus on before. Businesses and HR strategy will need to adopt and evolve around talent agility, which is the new top earner. The world of business is changing faster and faster. Yesterday's performance is no longer good enough for either the organizations or the employees. Skills of workforce needs to change rapidly. Measuring employee productivity, we need to relook at it. Enabling workspaces at homes, enabling workspaces at home. We need to look at ways how we can make employees more comfortable in setting up their workspaces within their homes. There are companies who are investing in creating these workspaces. We all are aware how Google has spent around $1,000 for their employees to set up their workspace at home. HR tech startup known the SpringWorks, they have shipped across monitors and keyboards and chairs as well as workspace tables for their employees. At Salesforce, an allowance of $250 was given to each employee to set up their workspace. So the strategies around employees now also have to look at the benefits and the allowances being given to the employees. There are new ways of learning and development for employees that have to be looked at. Studies show that while knowledge is doubling every year, skills have a half-life of just about 2.5 to 5 years. Evolving recruitment strategy around a balanced generation. I will come back to that in the next slide, which is also very important for organizations to look at. The current workforce globally has got 4 key generations working. Balance in organizations to ensure digital environment doesn't become a barrier for human interactions, which is so important for businesses to be successful. Business leaders and HR are working on this at various organizations. Managing employee mental health, motivation, and work-life balance happiness has become key for all HR professionals. We look at the workforce beyond 2020. As I was just speaking about the various generations that are working currently in workplaces, the global workforce by generation in 2020 looks something like this. The boomers, the baby boomers which are people, generally professionals born between the year 1946 to 1964. They are the me generations. They are all starting to retire, taking their experiences and knowledge with them. And this is going to impact business performance, value, and overall productivity. They are known for professional experience. They are known for stability, high loyalty, mentoring capability. They are low turnovers. They're very idealistic, revolutionary, and they value education. So these are the basic traits of the baby boomers. Looking at the Generation X, we talk about the Generation X for people who were born between the years 1965 and 1976. They are 35% of the global workforce today. They're primarily into leadership roles. They are highly competitive, individualistic, adaptable, very good managers. They look at education as a means to grow, very loyal, problem solving, very creative, and they dislike being micromanaged. They're also known as the sandwich generation, and they make up 1/3 of the workforce today. Looking at the Generation Y, which is going to increase even more in this current decade. Currently, they are 35%, and it is predicted that they would become 50% of the workforce going ahead. These are the Generation Y people who have been born between the years 1977 and 1997. They are globalists, self-oriented, they're highly optimistic, goal-oriented, they love technology and social media, they love collaboration, they are multitaskers, they desire to give back to the society, which is why CSR and sustainability is really gaining grounds today. They need a clear career path. They need a work-life balance, diversity. They are attention seekers. Education is an expense for them, so they would prefer their companies and organizations to provide them training and education opportunities. And they love text messages. They're not like the Gen Z who are more into visuals and images. So coming to the Gen Z, which is currently at around 24%. After 1997, people who were born after 1997, they are the I generation. We call them the digital natives. They are globally connected and motivated primarily by money and self-learners. They believe in instant communications, and they're very entrepreneurial in their nature. They're very realistic. They're multitaskers. They have high expectations. However, they have little experience and less productive since they are young now, and they are going to need to be shaped up. They are all very how would I put it? They're very attracted to digital workplaces, and they expected that their workplaces should thrive on instant communication and the latest technologies. So these are the 4 generations that are currently in the workplace today globally, and are required to be looked at and provide customized learning options, customized solutions for all of them to work in harmony across the organizations. When we talk about the learning trends which are in effect currently in the world today, there is a social shift which is taking place in learning. It's more about interaction now than instructions. The classroom trainings are a thought of the past. People today are employees and corporates. They're all looking at new ways of learning, which is primarily on the web. We look at a growing number of open accessible learning resources that are available on the web and are known as MOOCs. The learners also become trainers and experts. Hence, the P2P, which are the peer-to-peer universities, are really picking up fast. Knowledge workers join communities to share their own ideas and to learn from each other. There are employees who prefer to choose their own tools for working, communicating, and learning. They prefer to bring their own devices, which is why we call that they are more tuned into BYOD, which has training apps. So as we look at the different modes of learning which is picking up, there are new approaches, of course, again, to recognize and verify informal learning. As we see that platforms like LinkedIn, for example, we have so many informal learnings that we do at least I do. Whenever I have free time, I go up to the LinkedIn and see if there is anything, any new course which has come up, which is the latest course and talks about the latest technologies or even latest management trends. So all these are informal learning, and these are coming up in a very, very big way. You talk about Coursera, that's also informal learning. So how do you promote your informal learnings? So there are many of these badges that you get from these informal learning platforms. So that's very helpful for job seekers, especially today. You can have LinkedIn badges, you can have Coursera badges coming up. So this is how the entire learning trend is evolving. And it's very, very interesting. Mostly it is web driven, all of it. So it's another aspect which is very key for organizations today, for business continuity, to manage the expectations of employees in terms of upscaling their education, upscaling their skills, and providing them with those required tools. when we talk about technology, as I said, it's the key enabler for a digital workplace. We are already using the core business applications. We are already having email systems. We are already having HR applications, instant messaging and enterprise, social media and virtual tools. We are already using them, but there are many more new applications coming up for automating repetitive tasks, which helps employees to have more time on their hands to find more productive activities to get involved with. The ability to work from anywhere is key today. A recent report from Boston Consulting, which I was reading through, cites 6 factors required for effective remote working, the new normal in workplace for tomorrow. A scalable network, which is basically means that the ability to quickly scale services which require high demand and high usage situation, have a core network provisioning and ensure that there is enough capacity either by private or public internet to enable scaling in order to support changing work patterns. Cloud-ready applications, collaboration tools, cross-platform video conferencing tools, unified communications, support applications, integrated payment processing, all information is moving via the cloud today. Strong and secure mobile connectivity. This has become very important. And it is a fundamental challenge for all organizations. Why? Because remote working capability has become limited for employees who probably have limited broadband connections at home. They do not have access to next generation high-speed internet, and their networks are insecure. So companies have a challenge on providing security across the communication on the internet. Supporting a secure VPN access is critical component today to consider in remote working. End-to-end network monitoring. As the work is moving out of offices, the monitoring needs to measure end user and experiences and their device experiences. There is a zero trust security which needs to be looked at. Security of the customer and the financial data is fundamental for all organizations, whether it's large or small. Many companies have historically restricted access to sensitive data to on-premise devices only. Hence, shifting to employee homes as needed may be largely an unprecedented territory for them. Security issues also become more complex. So the challenge is how to protect access to sensitive data while maintaining the availability of resources. A resilient and end user support model is also necessary today to look at. I'm sorry. Artificial intelligence. We all have heard about this. This is the buzzword. We talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it's taking over our work in the workplace. We look at chatbots today, and when it comes to e-commerce, we look at chatbots when we do banking online. We look at Google Home. We look at Amazon. They are all coming up with this AI-driven support services for consumers to interact with. So basically, what we are talking about here is technologies everywhere, all around us. And we all need to gear up, the organizations, as well as the employees, as well as we as individuals. So that's how the resilience will get built up for the future in workplaces. We look at the way forward for the digital workplace. Obviously, we can never go back to exactly how we were before. The times have changed. We have been enforced in a process of accelerated digital transformation. Many of the traditional blockers and resistance to change have been removed from us. We have had to change. We had to move forward. And we had to apply innovative workarounds in order to drive business continuity in an extraordinary circumstances. Hence, coming back to, as we said, organizations are adapting a very robust digital workplace. They're looking at BOPIS, which is Buy Online, Pay in Store for e-commerce companies. Contactless customer journeys are now a priority. Online shopping or service provision, virtual events, classes, service sessions have all gone online mostly. So for any kind of business continuity and flexible working and adaptive infrastructure, this is what we are looking at in the digital workplace trends going forward. I think I have tried to cover up as much as we could and summarize it in a comprehensive way to cover the strategies and frameworks that are currently being adapted across industries in terms of business strategies, in terms of employees, and in terms of technology. Evolved digital workplace for long-term hybrid working models has become a necessity today. I would like to finish here and thank Dr. Hala and the rest of the participants today for being there. It has been a wonderful experience interacting with all of you. Should anyone want to look at more of information in terms of digital workforce trends, you can look at the sources listed below. I have looked at the digital workplace for Deloitte report, a digital workplace in the era of COVID by Roland Verger. Return to business as usual workplace of the future white paper, part 1 in the businesses as unusual white paper by Sampath Somanarayan, who is the vice president of Verizon. The 2020 workplace by Kelly Services, and Life After COVID-19, which was published by Dubai Future Foundation. Thank you, Dr. Hala. Thank you very much.
Accept my great appreciation for such a wonderful, inclusive, and really informative presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Hala.
You have summarized all the aspects that could be expressed in this aspect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hala.
Thank you so much. My thanks are extended to you on behalf of all the audience as well.
Thank you very much.
Of course, now we are supposed to have Dr. Suad, but I suppose we should have some time for Al-Maghrib prayer. We will have only 7 minutes, and then we will come back, inshallah, with Dr. Suad.
Thank you, Dr. Hala.
Thank you so much. So we will have a break and come back after 7 minutes, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I hope our audience have come back from the break. Now we will resume, inshallah, with Dr. Suad. Hi, Dr. Suad.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, wonderful to
Hope
have you.
It's my pleasure to be with all of you, and I wish happy Saturday for everyone. And you are enjoying the last day of the conference.
Yeah, sure. In fact, I was very pleased to have three of the most important women, Emirati women in leadership. On the first day, we had Dr. Leila Al-Blushi. Yesterday, we had Dr. Maya Al-Hawari. And now I am very, very pleased to welcome Dr. Engineer Saad.
Thank you, Dr. Hala. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you are going to talk about a very important aspect of COVID being an opportunity of growth. So that's wonderful.
Yes, I hope that everyone can hear me. Just I would like, I told Mu'taz not to put the presentation. I think everyone saw a lot of a presentation, so it's nice to talk to everyone. And
yeah, sure.
Today it's my speech about how we can see COVID-19 as an opportunity for our personal growth. And a lot of people maybe think that it's not possible. The world is became insecure. A lot of things we keep reading and hearing from the newspaper. Why Suad is saying it's opportunity of a growth. And to be honest, from my background, of who don't know Suad, I'm an aircraft engineer. I am in aviation industry for 15 years. And now I'm holding the third biggest airport in the world is Abu Dhabi International Airport, which is that I'm as a consultant. And you know, all of you guys maybe knows that the most industry being affected from COVID-19 is the aviation industry, because a lot of airports being closed, passenger not allowed to travel. And as a consultant, I have to do a case study for the airport as well for the operation, and what does it affect us? And the question came to my mind, is it the first crisis happened to the aviation industry? And I remember it's happened in 2000 and 2001 exactly, and September 11. And search after search, it's make me to stop and think about it. Yes, the world is unsafe. A lot of people is being affected with COVID-19. People, they lose their job. People, they've been affected with the corona. But the question came to my mind, is it the only crisis we are facing? Yes, worldwide, maybe every 100 years we are facing crisis. We are facing a disease. Economic crisis happened in 2008 and 2015. Health crisis happened 100 year and 100 year. But if we stand and sit with ourselves, we find that we face a crisis and challenges either daily, either weekly, either monthly, either yearly, as a personal. And I will share with you one story happened to me exactly. And when I decided to enter to the aviation industry, and it was exactly in 2001, and I supposed to travel to United States to study the aviation aeronautical engineering, and September 11 happened, and a lot of things happened. It's not allowed us a student to travel to United States, and many of the students, they change their major, which make me think about it. Should I change the major I choose for my dream to be an aircraft engineer, or I have to fight? And the big challenges I face it that in our country and the Arab country is not allowed the woman to study that day aeronautical engineering. So I have to search and search and search. And my mom, she told me, Suad, just stand and say, this is the thing that is written for you, that to be another as a doctor and medical, or to be in law. And I said, no, I should face those challenges. So the first thing, what always I say it, it's nice to feel bad. It's not harm to feel bad when you face any crisis in our life? Is it worldwide or personal crisis? Feel bad, cry, show the anger, show how depressed you are, shout, and every single emotion that you will face it, turn it that you will face your challenges. So when you feel the bad and you said, yeah, I'm in a bad situation, like what happened to me in 2001, it's make me to understand and view the point of my crisis. The same what is happening with COVID-19 right now, that we see it as a disease, we see it as a virus, but a lot of things happen, which is that when you think about it, I'm still healthy, I'm still continuing, I'm working from home, I have a healthy children, my family maybe it's not around me, maybe in another country, but other people, they've been in more and more challenges. So we have to accept it. We have to viewpoint the crisis. So one of the things when we face a high crisis with big challenges, one of the biggest challenges led me to see this world and view it. I passed through 1 year and a half, the last past 1 year and a half in a disease. And every hospital I go, the doctors say, oh, you will not live more than 1 week, 2 weeks. And I remember last December, I got this pain. And when I went to the hospital, the doctor, he was talking to my sister, to my brother. And I called the doctor, I said, say the truth. I can view it and I can see it as a patient. They don't feel the pain, I do feel it. Yes, they are my family, but they will never feel the pain. So he said, well, you have to enter to exploring operation to see why you are bleeding and why this pain. And usually 3% of patients, they come out from this operation as alive. And when I view this point, like you are saying that I'm dying, it's like straightforward, you have to say it. And he said, yes, obviously, yes. Only 3% people, they've been alive. And the thing that was, when I know this is the huge challenges, the huge crisis I face it, that I have 2 children, which one of them, he completed from 2 days, 6 years, and the other one, he's 2 years. And I was thinking like, okay, before I enter to the operation, which I don't know what I will be facing, what should I do? And this is what we need to think about it. We face the corona. We know that it's still there. No any medication, no any vaccination yet, fine. So you have to face this challenge. So what I done, I said, okay, it was 3 in the morning, and I told them, can you call my mother and call my both children, and I need a cup of coffee. I'm addicted to coffee. And the doctor, he was so conscious what she's talking about. And I said, I want cheesecake. And this is the things make me happy. So usually when we see any crisis and we overview it, we get it from only a corner. We don't see the full image of this crisis. So they brought for me the coffee, they brought for me the cheesecake. I kissed my both children. And then I said for my mom, when I come out from the operation, I will dance in the hospital. And she said, you are so crazy. And I said, yes, I will do it. And this is what it's make me squeeze that difficulty I'm facing. So a lot of people, when they face the coronavirus now, either in the aviation industry, either they lose their job, they never thought that this is opportunity for them. If you get a salary reduction, it means you never thought about a plan B, that a plan B that you have to have another income to you plus your salary. You should not depend only on your salary or in your business. So you have to have both of them. So a plan B, if any reduction happened to your salary or cut or you lose your job, you have another income. Even if you will sell a cake or you will sell a big, you will open small bakery in your home, or you will do an lecture. So small income of money will help you to face the difficulty. Maybe will happen again after 5 years or 10 years or whenever another crisis will happen, God forbid. So how you squeeze this difficulty to make it as an opportunity for yourself. People, they sit and they keep crying. They keep angry about the situation. What will be happening? But if we thought about it, we have the opportunity to spend time at home, which is that most of us as a working, what would happen? We almost in the road or in the office, or maybe like me, I'm in the site. So we spend only the weekend with our family, which is that when Corona came, it made most of us to spend time with the family. A lot of people, they never go to social media. They never read the newspaper. They never take about their health, any care, except when they get sick. So now with the COVID-19, what happened? A lot of people, they thought about their health, about what they should eat, about how they can take all the caution in their life, and maybe they have a plan for 5 years in front. So this is the opportunity of your personality to grow. Okay, so when it came for me, when I entered to the operation and I wake up after actually 3 weeks, and I saw my mom, actually she's sleeping in the floor. I stand and I start trying to dance. And she said, "You are crazy." I said, "No, this is I see it from the challenges, the outcome came from my problem that make me happy." So usually when we see we are not happy with the outcomes coming from what we are facing, we just, even let's say a lot of people, they are still in their job, but they don't have this motivating to work, especially from home. A lot of students, they are still studying from home. They are not happy. So this is what it will keep you face another problem, which is a negative year after year, maybe within a week. And you will get a healthy and mentality problem more than you get the Corona actually. So how you turn the outcome from the challenges, you turn it and squeeze it to difficulty to happiness. So what I teach myself, when I wake up in the morning, I start drinking what I love, dancing, wearing what I do, kissing all my kids. I remember like from 1 week when my son, he started school, and the first day, because 2 days in the week he has to go to school. So I kept kissing him and hugging him, and he said, "Mommy, enough." And I said, "No, it's not enough. Show the love. Show that you love this person." A lot of us, because we are working, we never had a time with our friends, with our family, our hobby. So this is what I keep saying is opportunity. A lot of you, maybe you have hobby, maybe they're a writer, maybe they are a lecturer, maybe we have a dancer, musicer. So people with a full job career, what is happening? They are facing those challenges. So what I mean is you have to turn those challenges to make it an opportunity. So for example, plus I'm a consultant, I have 2 boys, I have my own company, I finished writing my book. And because I am a writer, it's made me opportunity to have more time to focus on my book. And one of my book, we translated to the English, and it will be published, inshallah, by next month, which is that from now, when I keep posting and advertising for the book, I noticed not only the Arab people, they want to buy it, even the expat, and a lot of people, they are asking me, what is it about? Because the title of the book is how to kill your man with no evidence. So I noticed that a lot of people, they like to have a reading. They want to read from worldwide. So this is the opportunity for us to have this growth. When we see Corona, yes, there are virus, there are disease. This is a crisis. It's maybe affect our economy income. A lot of people, which they are addicted to online shopping, maybe for brands, they turn it to differently. We have to save the money because we don't know what will happen after a year. So if we think that this is a crisis, it's an opportunity for our personality growth, then we will be noticing 3 things is important in our life. Is the love, which is that we have to love ourselves, our parents, our family, our career, what we are having right now. This is the thing we need to be appreciated. If you appreciate the cup of the coffee, if you appreciate your dress you are having, you appreciate the house you are living, your friend, even your colleague and the work, then you have this love. So you will be surrounding all your mind, your heart, your body with the love, then you will be more healthy, mental health, and as well the body health. As well, I said the emotion, which is that come from the heart. The peace. When you think about it, you are not running or from the office to office or side to side and you are not drinking or eating in the car, most of us maybe we are eating, having our breakfast, our lunch in the car because we don't have time actually to sit on the table. So this is the peace you are having right now. You're working with maybe your pajama at home. You are having your food at home, and still you have this capability to sleep well. Maybe previously you sleep only 3 hours, 4 hours. Now you sleep more because you are working from home. So this is the peace we need it in our life. The third one and most important is the beauty. The beauty of the thing we are having, we never thought about it. We never imagine it. We never see it from our eyes except when this crisis happened. A lot of people, they write, they see, they go to think about their health. They see the family, how important. So the positive attitude is being changed. A lot of people, yes, in the beginning of the crisis, it's been having negative attitude and they are sad, angry, but slowly, all this attitude and income of the comment we are seeing is being changed. A lot, we have this positive energy. So this is the three things I keep saying that it helps us to grow as a personal. So if you see it, that COVID-19 is actually opportunity for us. Maybe we have faced it as a disease and a virus is dangerous, but if we see it from the full point, you will see it as actually it's opportunity for yourself to change and think as well about the future. So I hope everyone change their mentality, put in front of your image three things that yes, we are facing crisis, we are facing challenges daily. COVID-19 is just one piece, but as in a personal life, a lot of us, we are facing a lot of challenges. Maybe it's higher and more dangerous than COVID-19. So if we have the love, if we have the peace, if we have the beauty, then we have to enjoy the life. Change, think about it, prioritize your the important things in your life, and then you see what is it the opportunity you will have it either in your career, financial, as well as social life, and you will see your mentality will be changed. You will take care after all this focusing on three things: your mind, your heart, and your body. So this is the most things I noticed that when I was facing the death, I was facing the challenges and accepting me to enter to any university here in an Arab country, and I just have to fight for it. I've been working in a car garage to fix car before I go to study aeronautical engineering. I faced a lot of challenges. When I saw it and I passed over it, it came that I see COVID-19 is just 1% of what we are facing in our life. So this 1%, we can use it as opportunity. And as I said, it's important to change our life and our thinking and plan for a good future. And thank you everyone for listening to me today. Thank you, Dr. Hala, for inviting me for this conference.
In fact, wonderful. A wonderful way of putting things into place. A wonderful way of giving advice on how to adapt, to change, and how to view negative things as opportunities.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for sharing some of your own experiences with us. And in fact, yes, you've been telling the whole truth about our life. Yes, we are facing challenges every day, and this ability to view opportunity in every dark corner is the magic of being alive. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Dr. Saad, and I wish to meet you again in other conferences.
Definitely. Thank you, everyone.
All the time won't be enough to listen to such courageous people. Thank you so much. And now let's welcome Aparna. Aparna, are you there?
Yes, Dr. Hala, I am here.
Yes, so the mic is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Hala. First of all, let me thank you for giving me this opportunity to share the platform with such great leaders. I will try to do my presentation very shortly and in time. I'll share my screen right now. Can you see the screen? Okay.
Yes, now it's there.
Yeah. So this is a wonderful topic which I have got to speak today. It's about self-development and how you present your work with impact. Well, this is so relative to me that I would actually like to tell about myself first in the context of self-development. About me, a little about me. I have done my MBA in Operations Management. I lead the Quality, Health and Safety Department of Delta Printing Press, Middle East. This is a very new assignment to me, and I have just been 4 years in this organization, whereas I have been in Dubai for the last 15 years around, and this is my second assignment which I have picked up. I've been awarded 2 awards, the Middle East Women Achievers Award and the Femina Women Super Achiever Award. I will come to this when I say about self-development. First, I would like to just tell about myself and in my journey about my self-development. I hail from a very small place from India in Goa. And as every girl child, I was a very protected child with grown up among family of a very close-knitted family. I finished my education, and like every child gets married, I got married into a very beautiful family. And I was working in India because, of course, I had a husband who was very supportive, and he said, you have all the education and knowledge, so you should begin your career. And I stepped into a technical field of printing. We were doing lamy tubes for Hindustan Lever, for the Unilevers, the Pepsodent and Colgate, and it was a packaging spectrum where I was. And after 10 years of dedicated work in the organization, with a lot of mentors around me, European people who were teaching us, I thought there is much beyond this small place of Goa, and I need to move out to enhance my knowledge. It was at that time I was a mother already, and I had a 6-year-old child. And it was really very challenging to take any decisions or steps to leave my job, but I was determined. And then with the support of my family, my home, my parents, my siblings, I took this initiative and I started looking out for a job in the international market. And the very first job offer I got was from Dubai. So I said, let me walk my way. And when I came to Dubai, I was that timid girl, very homely connected. But when I came here with no friends in Dubai, not knowing what Dubai is, not knowing what it had to give back to me, I came here, set up on my own and began my journey. And after 15 years in an organization, of course, where I grew, I got a platform to grow, but life was difficult. It was a struggle because I had a small child back home, no good internet connectivity to connect back to your family, like what we have now. Today, when I come, of course, life is different. I have my video calls continuously on, but those days it was not so. I really used to earn to be back home, look at my child. But in the organization where I was, I developed myself, and we had lots and lots of opportunities to pick up and to fight and develop and come up and take the organization to a level where we started applying for the biggest awards of the country right now, the Mohammed bin Rashid Sheikh Maktoum Award. I was the team leader for my organization, the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Innovation Award, the Dubai CSR Awards, the Taktir Awards, all the local government entity awards. I have been leading the programs and being successful in getting these awards and being making the company visible in this area. Now, after that, I just come back into my professional work life from my personal self, where I grew. And the main reasons where I got these 2 awards basically was like for path-breaking women role, for coming up from an Indian community and establishing myself in an international market. And that's where I was recognized. Now, when I speak about the work life, it's absolutely necessary and vital that after an effortful work, we must present it with impact. Impact creates meaningful influence and supports or boosts our future work. My talk would focus about how you create an impact and how you can emphasize yourself and your work and create that impact. The key takeaways from this talk would be how to have your work journey in an effective and constructive manner, creating a lasting impression. How you delight your work in an effective way with an impact. Now, what is the word impact? Most of us understand that when two things hit against each other, we hear a noise or influence or some positive vibes, and this is nothing but it is an impact. Impact is a very powerful word. What is meant by impact? It's a marked effect or an influence. And why is impact necessary? It is necessary because you need to emphasize on the purpose of your work. The bottom line is that when you are working as a professional, you need to convey that what is significant to you. You need to convey it in such a manner that your thinking influences your purpose or your objective to the audience or the takers who are listening to you. What is this purpose? It's a reason for what you are doing the work. What is the meaning? The meaning is the significance. Why are you involved in that particular work? You are involved to do the purpose and then to do the purpose with an impact. Yeah, this is the impact which is called as a marked influence. Once you have this impact in your job profile or in your presentations or in your talks, you leave a lasting impression and you leave that halo effect. You know, people resonate and start thinking, what have you done? What is that different what you have done? That is the reason why you need to present yourself or present your work with impact. Now let's come to the simple way of how do we create this impact. Most of us being professionals, I mean, at the end of every project or at the end of every big task which is assigned to us, we like to present it. We like to speak it in front of the audience. We like to tell our stories. And when we do this, we must obviously do it with a bold emphasis, you know, bold opening statement, which fixes the purpose of your work, which really puts value or emphasis or weightage on the purpose of why you have done the work. You must also make sure that the work which you're going to put forward, you were a part of this journey. You cannot talk about somebody else's work in a very confident manner as you can talk about your work, which you have done for your team. So you must make sure that you're going to put your work in a very, very professional manner. You need to cite an example. We'll also do a small case study here. We need to cite an example about how you have done your work. This is the most important part, that you need to connect with the audience. And you can connect with the audience when you use simple language and stop using complex words, jargon words, where you confuse and complicate your matter in your stuff, where your matter doesn't reach. If you have to understand the kind of audience you're going to connect to, use a language which you can communicate and get your point absolutely dot on to them. Emphasize on the results. Results are very, very important, and results, not just stories or, you know, you say something and then the results with facts and figures, with values, really make meaning. You try to show the impact graphically or through a trend chart. This is a part of results. You must tour your journey. You must speak on the purpose and the objectives of the work you have taken in hand, with real emphasis on why you were the one who was selected or you were the one who was chosen, and whether you have done justice to that purpose for which you have been involved. So this is a key requirement when you're putting your work forward. You must tour your journey in a small nutshell, not in a lengthy process, in a small crux matter, what it was. Present both the value-wise benefits and intangible benefits. Intangible benefits are very, very important, because after your entire study or your project, there may be some intangible benefits, just like you have just upgraded a second line, or you have eliminated a MUDA, but these things have to be, may not be quantified, but that is a benefit. So you need to speak about it. And lastly, you must make a personal recommendation, because when you make a personal recommendation, it shows your involvement in the work. It shows that you have added value and that you are there in that growth process. And lastly, but not least, you must thank each and every one for the cooperation, for the support, and they are being partners in your journey. Whether it's a success, it's a failure, it's a halt mode, it's any mode. When you're presenting, you must remember that you must know to thank each other, because it's because of them you have been able to succeed, or you have been able to come to that level, and they have been partners in your journey. I will just take you through to a small innovation to show how a small product development led into a big innovation department in the organization. it's a very close to the heart story for me, because even I'm not in that present role right now, people do remember me because of the department, because of the policies which have come in place. I had the opportunity of being a project lead for a product development for a client. Now, the reason of being chosen was that I'm quite systematic. I believe on data, I keep my records, and this is what the client wanted. So among a host of people, I was chosen because I would do justice to the job, at least in terms of documentation. So that was why I was chosen for this task. I knew it was not an individual task and I couldn't make it happen alone. And to make it successful, I needed a team. So I had to build a team and create an impact. That started the journey, and it was an exciting one. There was learnings and there was great cooperative work. What we did is we started with a small team of 5 members. We worked towards brainstorming, making samples, mock-ups, SWOT analysis. And this was an important part which was led by me. We did the SWOT analysis for the team as well as for the route adopted, because the team always has members who have strengths as well as weakness, and there are opportunities and threats everywhere. And the route map also had to be in sync with the team members. We had to make sure that they both aligned each other and the thinkings matched. Fitment test, stability test, this was for the products which was done, and it was successful. Well, during this journey, what happened was I understood that this is not something new. We have been doing this quite often, quite frequently. There are small improvements which are done, but they have not been taken up to the logical end, like how you need to take it. It was not put up to the management. So while I was through this innovation phase of product development for a client, I started gathering information and making my own data and trend charts of the small improvements, small projects which we had done. When we did that, when we saw it into our bigger picture and we plotted it, we saw there was a lot of savings. There was a lot of value addition which we were doing internally, but we were not recognizing it. We were not able to take it up to the customer and tell them that we are unknowingly enhancing your product. And that product enhancement was about 25%, which was adding to customer delight. We could actually encash on this factor in terms of value also. So what did I do? I plotted it on a trend chart, and I showed the management that we have been doing small projects in little ways what we can. And there is a substantial increase in the numbers of such small things which we are doing, but it is getting lost somewhere. This knowledge must be captured, and we must be able to encash on this and project ourselves in a different way. Probably it could get more of market mileage, it could get more of returns to us, but we need to look into it closely. And as we did that, we saw there was a lot of improvements as we moved up. So there was a potential to encash on the bottom line improvements, small changes. These are all technicals since I belong to the print industry. But the crux of this is there was definitely a bigger area for us for improvement, and we had to do it something in a structural way. So I put my recommendations that there are remarkable improvements, and we must structure this process. And how do we structure this process? We must adopt it. We must engage the stakeholders of areas of expertise. And once we do that, we must fix a measurement scale and then reward the team or the doer, whoever is bringing these valuable values to us. It's finally money. And the outcome was that the innovation policy of the organization was formed. We were able to adopt this policy into the QMS, into the quality management system. And as we grew year on year, we did fabulous. We had our own department. We had a place for the people to work. We had an open door policy. So there was no boss it was an open door policy. We just collected all the suggestions. We just collected all the improvements, and we went going ahead. So the small purpose, the small seed which was planted, like of doing a product development for a client, suddenly turned out into a big tree of an innovation, and an innovation culture came into the organization. And that really gave us results. And we were very grateful, and we were very honored when we got the MRM award with these little inputs which we put it into the framework of the innovation in the business framework, and it was really very good. So this was a part of that presentation, but as in my personal sense, I would say that if you want to grow and if you want to do a self-development, you must follow the 3 E's. You must embrace yourself with whatever comes. The first E is the embrace. Embrace yourself with the situation, embrace yourself with the people, embrace yourself with the surrounding, embrace yourself with the platform, the work, whatever you have been given. Then engage. You need to engage yourself with that embrace. Once you embrace it, then it's a bond. You need to create that internal bond and engage yourself totally with the project in which you're involved, with the people which you are involved, have trust with them and work with them. And third is evolve. When you do this, when you embrace, engage, you automatically evolve yourself because you learn, you move up, and there are a lot of insights which as a person also, as a personality development, you can see a lot of changes among yourself. Your thinking changes, the things which you used to crib before, maybe you have a different perspective to it because you learn to listen to others, you learn to work with others. And that's the key takeaway. I think we must learn how to develop ourselves and to move up the ladder. And I really thank Dr. Hala for giving me this opportunity to speak something about myself and link it into the innovation stream. And presently, I have taken up a role in Delta Printing Press, majorly because I want to do this knowledge transfer and teach the young generation how they move up the ladder, because there are a lot of the weaker sections who don't know how to present themselves, who don't know how to portray their work. So I do the leading part for them. I play that role and help them move up, because garnering image is done for us. It's now the part of giving, now the part of uplifting our team and telling them this is the way you need to move, this is the way you need to do, this is the way you need to document, this is the way you need to talk, this is the way you need to stand, and you need to present yourself. So these are the things as a challenging role I have taken in my new assignment. I'm quite happy with it. In the first 4 months, we have seen good results from a low profile, because COVID made everybody down. You know, COVID has put every aspect of the business very low, and people are very skeptical about where they're going to head. But it's only motivation and giving the feel that yes, people need packaging, people need boxes, people need a lot of things which we are going to do, and we need to do it differently, we need to do it correctly, we need to avoid losses. That's how it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So impressive, Aparna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now we move to our next speaker, Nushin Mukhtar. Nushin, are you there?
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Dr. Hala. How are you?
Hi. Hi. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. I have listened to so many wonderful speeches today, and it was so motivating. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing loads of information and giving us so many different threads to think about.
Okay, go ahead. The mic is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. Yes, I understand that these are very different times. These are the times that we never thought about. And today I'm going to talk about just a few little points that perhaps all of us already know, but have been not consciously using in our day-to-day life as we proceed with our stuff. So today's topic for myself is leading and managing people-centered change. Now, for all those listeners who do not know me, I will just take 2 seconds and introduce myself very briefly. I have not set up a presentation because I wanted it to be a conversation with everybody. My name is Nushin Mukhtar. I own 2-3 companies in Dubai, primarily related to marketing space, personal branding. I have a women's e-magazine where I love sharing different stories from wonderful women leaders who are out to make a difference and make their mark in the UAE and globally. So this is what I do. My passion is to help other people, especially entrepreneurs, because I'm into business since 8 years, and I have seen a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with different kinds of problems, with different kinds of situations, with different kinds of issues that were sometimes precedented and sometimes unprecedented for them. So I personally believe in creating an ecosystem along with my other supports in the UAE that helps entrepreneurs towards achieving their long-term goals. And for this purpose, I have a social community as well. Now, coming towards today's topic, it's very important for us to understand that what happened to us in the beginning of March and end of February was completely unexpected. None of us thought that everything will shut down and we will have to work in a completely different way in the new times. But all the more that happened, and we waded through different times during this duration. What exactly happened was, after the COVID-19 became a pandemic, there was extreme disruption. The old systems, the traditional systems that we have been using always, were rendered ineffective. Social life was stranded. Our professional lives were also partially stranded because people like myself, people who went to office in the morning and had social nights in the evening, were like lost because there were no offices anymore. We were all supposed to work from homes, and there couldn't be any social events. And the result was that we were working remotely, we were communicating remotely, and that made a big difference. I spent first 3 weeks in extreme stress. And that was very unnatural. Like, I'm a very perky person, always running here and there, doing things. I have that nomadic work style that takes me to different places instead of just staying in my office. So when I had to stay in one place for, let's say, a couple of months and more, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? So this what's happening thing is something that let down a lot of people. The first reaction, first response to the change that happened in the modern society was denial. We were all thinking, oh my God, why is it happening to us? Why this virus is there, first of all? Then we were like, oh my God, how is it going to impact me and my family and my friends and my business? The next thought was, oh my God, my professional life is in ruptures. I don't know what to do about this. And I had so many plans and it's all gone. So such were the thoughts for many people, not just one or two persons. The next phase was of depression. And the questions in our minds were like, how can I take care of my family and myself? How to stay safe and healthy? How to protect my job? How to make sure there is regular income coming? And these questions were recurring in many people's minds, be it small business entrepreneurs or corporate workers or C-level executives or ordinary sales force. Even the delivery boys must have suffered because, like we have seen in the news, that many of them somehow caught the virus and were in trouble and were quarantined. Restaurants were shut down for the same reason, because their employees, people who used to deliver, brought it back. So considering this level of drastic change that happened around us within our lives, we all pivoted. And once we did that, the major factor that changed and contributed towards making us work efficiently, work effectively, work strategically, work successfully through last 4 or 5 months was empathy and kindness. So the best way to lead during such an unprecedented change is to go back, fall upon the human values, where we consider how other people around us are feeling, how our employees must be feeling once they do not have the kind of job security they anticipated when they joined us 4 or 5 years back. This was the thought in the minds of majority of leaders during this period. Secondly, for entrepreneurs, for lean entrepreneurs, the questions were very different. They were thinking how to make money now, that the buyers are less, that going out is no longer allowed, that interacting with people face-to-face and networking to leverage your sales is not an option anymore. So in these uncertain times, what we all did and what we continue to do is, first thing, care, express love, offer support, both emotional support, psychological support, and in terms of financial help. I have seen hundreds of individuals, people who were not in any kind of leadership, people who were ordinary employees, picking up money from their savings, sending that off for donations, WhatsApping in groups to find who is suffering the most and then extending a helping hand to those people. This is what this change has done to us as a society, not just professionals, because Primarily, we are a society, a group of people who are living together in a wonderful country, in this wonderful world where everybody was suffering and was going through the challenges in the same level as everybody else, and nobody was spared. So, keeping in view how these human feelings gained more was amazing. The fact that we used to criticize technology the most. We used to think that this is taking away our lives from us. And today, the same technology has brought our life back to us very safely. Our children are studying from home in the safest environment. They are healthy. They are able to communicate. They are able to learn and grow and experience life in a different way. Yes, this different way can create some kind of stress for us and also for our children. So what we have been doing so far has been commendable. I will keep it short and move on towards 4 different ways in which we can continue to manage change and be the better leaders. I believe that most of my audience are business owners or are in leadership positions where they can help others the most. So the first part, as we all know, is to be agile, to be prepared, with a forward plan that is ever evolving and does not get stranded or stuck because of a change of situation. We must need to continue testing what's going on around us and see what practices can motivate people to have a better life consistently without feeling left behind. The second point that I personally believe we need to focus on in a different way to adjust to this change is our concept of success. Like, success should not remain as something related to the number of sales we are able to do. It's not that anymore. As a business owner, I personally believe that the definition of success has changed entirely. It has come to a point where we believe if I am able to help everybody else, I'm more successful than I was before. So this value system has evolved actually. It's not been disrupted. Disruption has happened only in the financial material world. But what I see is, as human beings, inside of us, we are all the more stronger, we are all the more resolute, we are all the more resilient. We are ready to move on. And that's the best part. The third major thing is incentives. We have to give ourselves, like Dr. Suad said, we have to give ourselves those little incentives, like kisses from our kids, like love from our parents, like little gifts we can get for our family, like little gifts we can give to our friends to extend happiness, to ensure that other people feel safer, other people feel emotionally sound and helped and supported. Incentives must also be extended to our employees. As an employer, I would like to say that. And in this regard, the best effort we can make is support them in emotional terms, support them in financial terms, support them in giving them the security that their jobs are safer with us because they have been with us through these testing times. The fourth major point that we can use, the factor that we can use to absorb change and make our adjustments to it, is connectivity. We need to make our communication fruitful, positive, motivating, easy. Easy as in we do not create stress for anybody when we are communicating. So when it goes to employee engagement, when it goes to interacting within organizations, when it goes towards giving feedback to our employees, when it goes towards communication flow from day-to-day activities, we need to make sure that we are helping people more than imposing rules. Imposition of rules can bring success. I'm not saying that imposing rules will not bring success. That would be entirely wrong. It can bring success, it can bring money. But if we go the softer way and show flexibility and make and are ready to make our adjustments, less stress on following rules and accepting human limitations and circumstantial situational limitations can actually accelerate performance, can actually keep employees motivated, can keep team bonding intact, and people working with their best abilities in place. This is what I have observed, and I'm sure that my listeners have also observed something similar in their experiences during these period. A good way of offering support to employees, let me keep it short, is also to give them a percentage off towards whatever services the company can offer them. Let's say maybe in these times an increment is not possible, but offering the family some medical support could be a good incentive. Similarly, making arrangements for, let's say, provisions could be a good arrangement for an employee. And these kind of help and supportive extensions can work as greater incentives for people. It is very important for all of us to ensure that the communication that we are indulging in during these times of change and disruption are more related to we care. We need to show our people that there is no obscurity in the communication, that the expectations are lower, but the performance in return needs to be higher. And this can best be done when we set up examples of how we can control our stress and work more productively towards that. And I strongly believe that people, employees, let's say teams, perform better, they adjust to change better when they see modeling of behavior. So modeling positive behavior is the best way that leaders can adopt in these times to ensure that their teams are performing better and are staying in good bondage. Excuse me. So I know that none of us expected these times. I know that there have been different kinds of news showing that this tech giant has done that and that tech giant has achieved these many millions as target. I was very happy to find out that Google has announced Friday a paid leave for its employees. So that brings us good news that the bigger giants are actually extending help by understanding that well-being and wellness is more important than monetary gains, and they're willing to make life easier for people. I believe that smaller companies can also take similar kind of steps and use this inspiration to offer support to their employees and the people who are connected to them. This is pretty much it. I personally believe that staying together, spreading happiness, sharing the messages of positivity are the best ways towards maintaining good life, sustaining mental health, and accepting change.
Thank you so much, Nusheen. And really, I'm very happy to have women like you in leadership position. Because
Thank you so much.
You are really spreading awareness. You are emotional. You are passionate about what you are working, but you are at the same time practical, and you are giving very good business tips. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And hope to have you again, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And now we have a guest from Albania, an artist who plays the piano beautifully. And in fact, in such time, hard times, yes, we need art. As we have seen I think on the first day with Dr. Didra, who spoke about the importance of art in our life. So let's welcome Denisa from Albania. Denisa, are you there? Denisa? Okay, so let's make a kind of just shift and we'll see what's happening. You know, overseas speakers have the problem with the time zone, the difference in time zone. Let me welcome Dr. Abdul Quddus Muhammad. Hi, Doctor.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, all of you.
Nice to have you.
Same here.
See, we are moving from business to changing mindsets to adaptation and to personal experiences. And so, what do you have to share with our very special audience today?
Yeah, I'm moving from the previous topic by Ms. Nausheen, that's on the entrepreneurial leadership to SMEs. Like in basically strengthening the SMEs in UAE is a very important demand of as on today because of the the big crisis we are facing. The SMEs are the backbone of economy. So I'm here to talk about on UAE SMEs, what is the status of those SMEs, and how the government is supporting them to move forward. So can I share my presentation? One second. Yeah, before I start my presentation, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Abdul Khuddus. I'm working as an assistant professor in business. Basically, my interest areas are HR and entrepreneurship. So here, the UAE SME is a very important, support system. This is required for the economic recovery. So before I get into that, I want to start with a small quiz by asking you a question on, the UAE is a very young country, as you all know, with dash percentage of population between 15 to 54 years. Please, if you can type your answers in the chat. Yeah, the answer is 80% of its population is between 15 to 54 years. Yes, most of you are right. Yeah, 65, almost near to that. Thank you very much. Yes, so UAE is a young country with a very much dependent on its younger generation to take over. The second question I want to ask you is, SMEs are account more than dash percentage of companies running in UAE contributing to dash percentage of GDP. Yeah, I understand this is somewhat technical question, but give a try. Wonderful, 90%, excellent, excellent. Yes, 94% of the companies in UAE are SMEs, and which are contributing to 60% of the GDP of the country, which is huge importance in the economy, which has huge impact in the UAE economy. The third question I want to ask you is, SMEs in UAE employ how much percentage of total private sector workforce? Give it a try. Yes, wonderful, 90%. Excellence, princess. Excellent. Almost near. More answers? Wonderful. Yeah, 86% of the, let me see the next answer. Yeah, 85. Wonderful, Arundhati. Thank you very much. Yes, 86% of the total private sector employees are from the SME. So this is what is the importance of SMEs in UAE. SMEs are backbone of UAE economy. So in UAE, SMEs are categorized or defined basically based on two factors. One is employees and their company's turnover. Based on that, the SMEs are divided into micro, small, and medium scale industries. So UAE economy basically is the second largest economy in the world after Saudi Arabia, with GDP of $421 billion, which is a huge economy. And if you see its growth, it is consistently growing. It's consistently is able to maintain its status of a developed economy in the world. But what we see here, because of the crisis what the whole world is facing, after achieving the growth of 1.7% in 2019, the suddenly UAE economy is facing minus 3.5% of GDP growth, which is actually a negative growth because of the situation the whole world is witnessing. Why the UAE economy is impacted, in this way negatively? It's based on some factors. If we analyze, number one important factor is, the fluctuations in the oil prices. We saw in April that oil prices were negatively shown. Why? Because 1/3 of the UAE economy is based on oil. So because the oil international factors, the oil prices are turning negative, that are affecting the economy. The second important factor that affected the economy, the Expo 2020 was supposed to be held this year, which was supposed to generate 23 billion to the UAE economy, which was 24% of the GDP. But again, it got postponed, which is a good sign, which will be held in 21 and 22. That's next year. So third very important factor, I want you to focus on this here, because you see the key sectors of the economy that are oil, gas, commerce, hotels, real estate, transportation. All these industries are key for the development of the UAE economy. But if we analyze, all these industries are based on the mobility of people. Because of the imposition of the lockdown all over the world, including the UAE, these factors, these sectors are hugely impacted, and because of that, that has economic impact on the country. Yes, like what I said in the beginning, SMEs are backbone of UAE economy. And what I have done during this crisis, I have done a small research about how the UAE economy was able to cope, especially with regard to the SMEs, how they have survived with the COVID-19 crisis. So this was actually, a result of interview with the 80 managers from the SMEs from all the Emirates. So I asked them, like, how did it impact? Definitely, obviously, it's that it is extremely negative impact, and how that also had impacted their revenues. Yes, revenues were reduced to 72%. But I could see here, you also would have witnessed here that there is an increase of 15% revenue for some companies. These are basically some of the sectors which are emerged as new sectors, or like, for example, the health sector, which was again was very important currently, as well as home entertainment sector. Because of these, and as well as online shopping, some of those sectors gave boost to the economy. Not much, but yes, there was an increase in their performance by 15%. The third question I asked them, like, what are their sectors which affected because of the COVID crisis? the most important sector that was affected was transportation, tourism, then hospitality, hotels, banking, and the real estate. These were hugely impacted, and there is a need of recovery very soon, so that the whole economy is back to the normality. But if you see here again, the pharma and healthcare sector, IT, cybersecurity, and home entertainment, the impact was not much, because again, these industries were in demand because of the COVID crisis. Yes, again, I asked them about what changes made by those SMEs to face the COVID pandemic. The most important change that happened is companies have gone online. Some of them were already online, but they have actually augmented their online practices, and automation was used, and some of them have gone adapted the new pricing practices, virtual meetings, home delivery services. These were some of the new business practices which were seen. And also one of the important practice was that some of the companies were focusing on a reinvention of their products and services, and also upskilling and retraining their employees. So overall, what I can see here is that there has been a transformation in the business practices, which were never expected, but the companies were able to cope, and some companies were hugely impacted, and some are able to transform. Then I asked them how they are transforming. Like, basically the transformation for me means here the use of IT and the automation technologies. So they said yes, because of the COVID, we transformed today, but 31% of them, they say that they will sustain the transformation in the future. So overall, what I understand, what I want to say through these numbers is that the SME sector in UAE was hugely impacted. That resulted in transformation in their business practices. But now, moving forward, what are the measures that are taking place to recover these SMEs? Yes, the most important, government has been very proactive. Government has been very helpful. They have introduced, target economic support scheme, wherein they are giving relief or relaxation for the companies to pay the principal and the interest for their bank loans. They have given them the relaxation, as well as UAE Central Bank has increased its economic stimulus package of 256 billion to encourage basically the retail and the trade, tourism, and energy sectors, as well as Dubai also announced 1.5 billion economic stimulus package, and there are other measures of freezing the fee of the government, and as well as most of the government contracts were allocated to the SMEs, and they also have relaxed the foreign ownership percentage in the FDI, and government also has announced the PR schemes for granting long-term visas for the expatriate entrepreneurs. So Abu Dhabi government also has taken some dramatic steps here. The most important one is giving SMEs funds which are required credit, that is 3 billion dirhams, and as well as whatever the penalties the companies have, they all were waived off. And most importantly, the suspension of tourism and municipality fee was also done to encourage the tourism sector. And Dubai government also has given discount in the fee for on water, electricity, and cooling services, as well as they have imposed they have given 90% reduction in the custom document fee, as well as to encourage tourism sector, they have reduced their municipality fee of hotels from 7 to 3.5%. Now, recovery ready UAE economy, optimistic future. What I mean by this is, what I understand as somebody who is a researcher in business, it's UAE, not only UAE economy, the whole world economy is seeing the crisis, but it is temporary. Within, as soon as we have some solution for the COVID issue, economies will be back. So again, in that, UAE also is very significant. There is a survey done by Middle East Business Intelligence Company, and they say that they have come up with the COVID-19 recovery index. They say that UAE is having 4 ratings as the second biggest economy after Saudi Arabia to recover from the crisis because of the structure of the economy, because of the strength of the economy, because the fundamentals of the UAE economy are very strong. With the strong leadership, it is possible that UAE economy is able to recover as soon as some medical solution is coming for the COVID. And it is also expected that the economy will be coming back to the normal with the announcement of stimulus packages by the government, as well as the cuts. As most importantly, Expo 2021 will be also taking place. And UAE is also projected for economy recovery from minus 3.5 to plus 4.1% consistently 2021 to 2024 by Fitech Solutions research company. Not only that, there is a Modi, which is an international company that that gives different surveys, and they also predict that UAE economy will come back, will grow with 4.1%, and after a 5% contraction in 2020. So this is only a temporary situation what we are facing now. Why? How come? What are the reasons for to say this? To say that UAE economy is optimistic? That is because as cohesive leadership, all Emirates leadership are working together as a team, and they are taking steps to move country forward. And also natural resources of the country are very, very strong, and all the money what was earned was invested in the infrastructure, healthcare, which is actually what we see now was the historical investment. What are the benefits we are seeing in the health sector as well as in the infrastructure all happened because the government was really able to invest money in the infrastructure. AI and fourth generation industrial revolution technologies are really helping the UAE in delivering public services and improving efficiencies. And also, UAE is a very resilient economy, very stable with the political environment, because the people and the government are working together, which is actually a great sign of a country to move forward. So yes, recently we saw a 50 economy plan by the government, which is actually focusing on SMEs, tourism and FDI of the country. The target is to reach by 2030. Yes, there are priority sectors of the government which innovation need to take place, which can take the economy to the target levels. Those sectors are basically water, health, education, technology, space, transportation, and renewable and clean energy. So I want to conclude my presentation saying that yes, UAE has made a great progress in meeting the Vision 2021 national agenda, especially in the field of education, health, and infrastructure, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic threat, it's actually threatening its growth. And there are industries in UAE which really needs to recover first, that is technology, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, leisure and energy. And some industries really need to grow to the next level, that is aviation, tourism and retail, which I think is completely dependent on the external factors which can play an important role. So we have to be optimistic. We need to be positive in this, because economic crisis is temporary, and future is very optimistic. It is in the hands of the trusted leadership. So with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much, and I'll be glad to answer if you have any questions.
Dr. Abdul Quddus, I'm really grateful for such a wonderful presentation, and I am very pleased to conclude the conference with such optimistic predictions based on research and logical analysis of the situation. Thank you so much. Dear audience, we were supposed to welcome Denisa from Albania, but it seems that she had a little issue with the internet. So she sent her best regards to all the audience, and she shared a video of her music. Let's hope that it will work. We will conclude our conference with this music. I would like to thank all our 23 speakers who shared their expertise, ideas and life experiences with the audience. And let's listen to Denisa. I hope that all your days will be full of happiness. Cheer up, inshallah. This crisis will be temporary, and humanity will win. I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Matez, who joined us and facilitated our Zoom meeting throughout the 3 days. All the speakers were wonderful. Thank you so much, and I will leave you with the music. I'm sorry for the quality of the music. It seems it's not accessible. Well, to all our audience who were able to attend us, and to those who were not able to attend us, all the speakers' presentation will be recorded, inshallah. Certificate will be sent to all the audience who registered with us. I would like to thank you all I see Her Royal Highness Princess is with us. I see Eli. I saw all the wonderful faces who enlightened the 3 days of the conference. Thank you so much. Accept my gratitude, and inshallah we will plan for another occasion where we can meet and just experience such wonderful feeding of our intellect. And thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Hala. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hala.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you,
Thank
Dr.
you, Dr.
Hala.
Hala. It was
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And inshallah, for those who are residing in Dubai, inshallah, we will be meeting together just on a piece of cake and coffee and have your certificate. For those who will come, Eli will be waiting for you in October, inshallah. Princess will be waiting for you as soon as possible.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes, and please send my cake and my coffee. So I will be virtually celebrating with you. Congratulations! This is fantastic.
Truly fantastic.
Yeah, really, really, I enjoyed every minute of the conference. Thank you so much for your cooperation, and inshallah we'll meet soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you, and all the
Bye-bye,
best.
everyone.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.